Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Kodanitai Maya Poshashi Kodanitai Maya Poshashi Kodanitai Jaya Maya Poshashi Iskang Govinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shishi Kondatai Mai Pushashi ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Jai. Hari. So, reading from Lecture Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Shishi Kondatai Mai Pushashi ki jai. Hari. So, still on evidence regarding devotional principles. Accepting initiation from the spiritual master and receiving instructions from him. Sage Prabhuda continued to speak to the king as follows. My dear king, a disciple has to accept the spiritual master not only as spiritual master, but also as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Super Soul. In other words, the disciple should accept the spiritual master as God because he is the external manifestation of Krishna. This is confirmed in every scripture, and a disciple should accept the spiritual master as such. One should learn Srimad Bhagvatam seriously and with all respect and veneration for the spiritual master. Hearing and speaking Srimad Bhagvatam is the religious process which elevates one to the platform of serving and loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The attitude of the disciple should be to satisfy the bona fide spiritual master. Then it will be very easy for him to understand spiritual knowledge. This is confirmed in the Vedas, and Rupa Goswami will further explain that for a person who has unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed very easily. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki. So, Chaitanya Charan said something which I'd never heard before about faith. He said faith can be an asset and faith can also be a choice. So he was saying like an asset is like you could be born with a very strong physique, and that's just what you've been given. And so that's great, means you can go along and be strong. And also faith can be a choice where you can use a situation as an excuse for not having faith, or you can use a situation to decide to have more faith. Anyone know what a situation could be like that? Yeah. So you may think you have faith in God, and then suddenly something happens. A steamroller goes over your hedgehog, and you have an existential crisis, and then you're wondering, could there really be a God? So you don't know. You don't know whether you're going to have that until it happens. If you're in the association of devotees, then they could help you see the bigger picture. But if you don't have the association of devotees, then you could join the millions of other people out there who made the choice not to have faith in God for whatever reason, you know.
Reading something from the Shastras and then just making our own meaning out of it and not having the faith on what's written. For example, Krishna says, devote yourself only to me, surrender yourself only to me. But then, but it's okay to worship other living gods and whatnot. Just one example.
Yeah.
Let me put it anything in the Shastras and make our own meaning out of it and not decide not to follow that.
It's dangerous, isn't it?
Choosing to have faith, like not only when things are bad and stuff, but also when things are going really well and making that choice to thank Krishna for that and having the gratitude that he's not only around in times of darkness, he's also around in times of joy. So choosing that way to thank him for that as well.
Yeah, there was two children. One was a top neuron surgeon. The other one was a vagabond, just lying around in the street. And so they interviewed the two boys, and they said, "Why did you become a tramp in the street and just drink all the time?" And he said, "Well, my father was a drunkard as well, so what do you expect?" So then they asked the top neuron surgeon, "How come you're a top neuron surgeon?" And he said, "Well, my father was a drunk, so what else do you expect? It's your choice. How you deal, how you react to what's going on around you." They say that freedom of choice is what we have, and freedom from choice is what we want. Because freedom from choice means you don't have to take the blame for anything, which is animal life. Freedom of choice means that when things go wrong, you always have to accept responsibility. Even if you can't directly say how it was your fault, you accept, well, I must have had some part to play in it. I must have had some karma, and therefore it's happened the way it has. So freedom of choice we have. Freedom from choice is what we want. What you expect, it was like this, and my father was like that. What you expect? So therefore he's trying to absolve his freedom of choice. And you say, well, what could I do? Can't expect me to be a top neuron surgeon, although my brother was, but, that's very unusual.
Just a small question on choice. At times, I've been aware of choices I've had and recognise there's many people that maybe aren't aware of the choices that they're making. So, do we still have that freedom if we're unaware of the choices?
Well, we have the freedom to find out what the options are. Okay, Bhagvatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Gandhava Uchu. Oh, sorry, Charana. Shri Charana Uchu. Hari Tavangri Pankajam. Baba Pavagam Ashrita. Yadesha Sadhuri Chayas. Tvayasura Samapita. Shri Charana Uchu. Hare Tavangri Pankajam. Bhava Pavagamashrita. Yadesha Sadhuhichayas. Tvayasura Samapita. Shri Charana Uchu. Jam. Bhava Pavagamashvita. Yasanichayas. Tvayasura Samapita. Charana Uchu. Bhavagamashvita. Yadesha Sadhuhichayas. Yasura Samapita. Charana Uchu Haritavangri Pankajam Bhavapavagam Ashritaha Vedeshadishvichayas Tvayasura Samapitam Shicharana Uchu Haritavangri Pankajam Bhavapagavam Ashritaha Vedeshadishvichayas Tvayasura Samapitaha Shi Charana Uchu. The inhabitants of the Charana planet said, Hare, O Lord, Tava, Yo, Angri Pankajam, lotus feet, Bhava Apavagam, the only shelter for becoming free from the contamination of material existence. Ashritaha, sheltered at. Yat, because. Aishaha, this. Sadhuhit Sayaha, stake in the hearts of all honest persons. Taya, by your lordship. Asuraha, the demon Hiranyakashipu. Samapitaha, finished. Shi Charana Uchu. The inhabitants of the Charana planet said, O Lord, because you have destroyed the demon Hiranyakashipu, who is always a stake in the hearts of all honest men, we are now relieved, and we eternally take shelter of your lotus feet, which award the conditioned soul liberation from materialistic contamination. Responsibly, please. The inhabitants of the Charana planet said, O Lord, because you have destroyed the demon Hiranyakashipu, who is always a stake in the hearts of all honest men, we are now relieved, and we eternally take shelter of your lotus feet, which award the conditioned soul liberation from materialistic contamination. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his transcendental form of Narahari, Nrsingadev, is always ready to kill the demons who always create disturbances in the minds of honest devotees. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement, devotees have to face many dangers and impediments all over the world, but a faithful servant who preaches with great devotion to the Lord must know that Lord Nrsingadev is always his protector. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhattarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I used to have a name, Hovland the singer. And that name was given to me because I had an attraction for Lord Nrsingadev when I was a young devotee. I had a deity I was worshipping. And when the devotees in Germany, who were being persecuted by the demons, Daityastan, it's the land of the demons where all the demons were banned to many years ago in the Vedic culture, the Daityastan. So they installed the deity of Lord Nrsimhadev. He was very fierce. Anyone seen that deity of Lord Nrsimhadev in Germany? No. We were there for a break after a marathon, all the Scottish devotees. And one evening we were there, and all the travelling Sankirtan devotees came back, and they were having this kirtan. It was like in the Nrsimhadev kirtan. It was like really, really intense. And the preaching was going on strongly, so, and they could feel the protection of Lord Nrsimhadev. You could certainly feel his presence on the altar. So Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if we look at our lineage, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he worshipped Gadai Gauranga, and the mood was more kind of raga and bhajan. And Bhaktisiddhanta, he systemized the preaching and organized mats, and everything became much more organized. And he took the emphasis of Gadai Gauranga and put it onto Nitai Gauranga, because Lord Nityananda is a preacher, and Nitai Gauranga is in the mood of preaching. So the emphasis shifted from our own bhajan and our own rag and our own internal situation onto just doing things externally, and which worked well in the West because we're very result orientated. You have host, right? Home, office, then you have school, and you have training. So in the West, we can give up our homes quite easily and get into the office situation and become achievement orientated. So obviously there has to be a balance. But Nitai Gauranga, it's getting out there and preaching. Lord Nityananda was asked by Lord Chaitanya, go now and preach. And by following that order, instead of being separated from Lord Chaitanya, he became reunited with Lord Chaitanya, became closer to Lord Chaitanya by following the order. Similarly with the spiritual master as well, those that are following what the spiritual master wants are closer than those that are rubbing shoulders with the spiritual master. So proximity is not the measurement for who's closest to the spiritual master, but those with the most faith and adherence to the spiritual master's instructions are the closest to the spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada set up ISKCON as a preaching movement, and he asked that we say the prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev every day in the morning program for protection. And now more than ever, if you look at what's going on in the world, then we need the protection of Lord Nrsimhadev even more. And it's not that Lord Nrsimhadev is lesser than any other form of the Lord. All the different forms of the Lord are there for a particular reason. Lord Nrsimhadev can give prema. He's one of the 4 incarnations that can do that. So he's considered very special. And very gentle actually as well. For one who takes shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord Nrsimhadev is very, very gentle. And there's a book produced in Mayapur by one of the twin Pujaris, and it's full of stories of people that were saved by Lord Nrsimhadev. So he's really present, he's really there. Personally, for what it's worth, it's probably just my imagination, but I was trying to learn the verse which is considered the jewel of the Nrsimha Kavacha, which was given personally by Lord Nrsimhadev, who appeared before him, because he was being harassed by so many Sahaja groups who he was preaching against at the time, and his life was under threat. And Lord Nrsimhadev appeared before Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he said, do not worry, I'm going to give you a Kavacha. And the Kavacha is actually quite long, it's quite a few pages, but the jewel of the Kavacha is Ugram, Vira Mahavijnam, Jwalantam Savatamakam Nisingam Bishanam Badar Mitya Mitya Namamyaham. And I was trying to learn that verse. And we were in Ireland at the time. And I had to go from the main building to where we were staying, which was through a forest, which was really dense. And I was very afraid, actually. I don't like the dark. Anyway, I marched off into the dark. My candle blew out almost immediately, and there I was, pitch black. And then lo and behold, the mantra that I was trying to learn. And I was wondering, how am I reciting this mantra? Because I don't even know the mantra. I'm trying to learn the mantra, and it was coming just... And I could feel some special presence there. And then I was, I was happy to be out all night in the darkness because I felt protected. So since that time, I've always chanted the mantra every day, powerful mantra. And we've had we used to have a lot of problems with the authorities back in the day. distributing books. And invariably, if there was any problem, and then see some amazing transformations. Sometimes people that were really looking threatening suddenly just, okay, we'll carry on. So we need that faith to do that, to take shelter, and to appreciate why Srila Prabhupada established this focus on Lord Nrsingadev. And what is the mood of Srila Prabhupada and the followers of Srila Prabhupada that want to follow, like Gopal Krishna. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, you can see, is a real Prabhupada man. Wanted to do exactly what Prabhupada wanted. The biggest book distributor. So the Charanas are praying. Interesting that the Charanas are praying. What's interesting about what the Charanas are praying is they're saying that we'll eternally take shelter of you. If you know, now that you've come, we'll always be your devotee. So Uttamai is false confidence. There's 6 forms of unsteady devotional service. Uttamai is false confidence. Tarangaranjani is enjoying facilities when they come during the performance of devotional service. And then there's inability to follow vows. You make commitments and then you break them. Vayudavikalpa is mental vacillation. Granatala is struggling with sensual desires. So there's all these different things that. So Uttamai is, to say, I will eternally now. Now after this, now that you've saved us, I'll eternally. Don't you worry about that. I'll be. But a Kanishta can't make that promise. Only a Majjhima Adhikari can make that promise that's fixed. Kanishtas, by nature, are without being Nishta, without being fixed. There's Karnishta and there's Nishta. Nishta is Majjhima Adhikari, and Karnishta is Anartha-nivritti, still at the stage of getting free of unwanted things. We'd like to get to the stage where we can say 100%, I will now eternally be your servant. But we can't do that if we're a Kanishta Adhikari. We have to get through the anarthas and then. So all the demigods are offering their prayers and they're all saying, oh, thank you so much. It's such a relief that you've come now. So there's 4 types of people that become devotees, and the majority of devotees that come in distress. So if you remove the distress, does the devotee still want to stay a devotee? It's like another nice point by Chaitanya Charan. You've married somebody, but you've only married her because she was your last option. Because you're so ugly, nobody else will touch you with a barge pole. And finally you find somebody and she'll marry you. And she realizes also that you've married her only as a last option. But she's willing to trust that she'll become eventually the first option. So when we come to devotional service, we come to devotional service in distress, and we come because we've exhausted every other option. We've tried everything else. And then eventually, when we reach the end, the only other thing left. I remember when I was in the squat with some chaps, and I said, I'm thinking of joining the Hare Krishnas. And one of them said, well, he said, they're definitely bona fide, but it's really hard work. He said, you only choose the Hare Krishnas when the only other option is suicide. Which wasn't far wrong for me, actually. So it was my last option. And then during the course of practicing devotional service, when you get free from distress, you may suddenly decide, wow, there's other options now. Now that I'm healthy and I'm okay again, I think I can go back out there and take my chances with the material energy. So then the distress goes and the devotee goes. And then maybe when the distress comes back, the devotee will come back. Maybe not. It's hard to say what will happen, actually. Very, very unpredictable when we're basing our devotional service on the whims of the mind, which we know can change. So how to make Krishna consciousness our first option, so that no matter what we're tempted with, heavenly enjoyment, the bliss of the carefree jnani who's liberated, he doesn't concern himself with bills and finer details like keeping things together. He just wants to merge and have no cares and free from anxieties. and then he's liberated. So that's the jnani. So that's another distraction from pure devotional service. You may get to the point where you become quite spiritually elevated, and then you think, well, if I just mention to the Brahman for billions of years, I won't have to worry about anything. I can just float around in the eternal Brahma Jyoti. Just no hassle, no income tax, no council tax, no time to get up for Mangalati, no worrying about bills and trying to keep things together. Just eternal bliss. So that's the jnani. And sometimes devotees can find themselves in situations where they're comfortable in a little office and they don't step out the comfort zone to brave the front line of the preaching movement. So Shivram was encouraging all his disciples to go at least once a week onto the preaching field and deal with people face to face, hand to hand, because people don't know you're a GBC or the head pot washer at Karuna Bhavan. You're nothing to them. So when you approach them, they just treat you how you approach them, So Sankirtan is the great leveler. We had Vaisheshika Guru come here, he could have stopped people. We went out into Buchanan Street with him, and he could have stopped people and said, "Excuse me, I'm actually a spiritual master. I've got a lot of disciples, and I've passed out a lot of books, so give us 20 books, £20, and I'll give you a book." But he was just going up to them and he was saying, "Hey, California, where are you from?" And then people were quite, taken aback by he was so laid back, and it was really nice to see that there was no ego there was no false prestige. He was just approaching them as a humble servant. So he's teaching us also that this is how to do Sankirtan. This is the mood, It was amazing, and we were all just kind of buzzing around him doing Sankirtan as well and watching him. It was one of the nicest days I've had on Sankirtan. So yeah, we have to shift from being in distress. Actually, Krishna says of the 4 people that approach him, the one that is most dear to him is one that's searching for him in knowledge. So what he's kind of saying to us indirectly is, it's nice that you've joined, but quickly shift up into searching for me in knowledge. Quickly get the knowledge. Don't come here because of distress, or because you're just inquisitive, or because you want a good situation where you can be healthy and comfortable. Come to me out of knowledge. Learn these books, take them seriously, apply them, and approach me under their instructions. And then you'll be the most dear of all the 4 people. You'll be the most dear to me. So how long do we have? If we've joined in distress, how long do we have to get to the stage of having Krishna as our first option? If we don't get there quick enough, then we could leave devotional service very easily. Just drift off and do something else instead. So the pressure's on, and it's urgent. We should be reading the books urgently. We should be rising at 3, reading for an hour, and then coming to japa with a lot of information percolating in the back of our minds, not just what we've been dreaming about for 6 hours in the mode of ignorance. Otherwise we heavily compromise our ability to chant. There's hearing, chanting, and there's remembering. If you're not engaging your remembering when you're hearing and chanting, then you're not worshipping the holy name. Jiva Goswami says to worship the holy name, you have to hear it, you have to chant it. We have to chant it first, then you have to hear it, and then you have to remember what it is. This is Krishna, this is Radharani. This is what we're approaching. How much does it feel like Krishna is Krishna when you hear Krishna? Does that feel like Krishna? Krishna. You're coming in contact with Krishna through the sound vibration. Does it feel like that? Krishna. You wouldn't be sleeping, right? You wouldn't be distracted. You wouldn't be bored. If I said 8:30 after the class, we're just going to have a quick Ishtagosti out in the conservatory, and you never guess what? Sri Bhagavan Krishna is going to come along. Oh, I don't know if I can. I'm a bit tired. Actually, do you want to take rest? Yeah, if you want to. It's up to you. It's your choice. So you're getting a chance to meet Krishna. If it doesn't feel like you are, then you have to look at what you're doing wrong. How much faith do you have? And faith is the precursor, isn't it? There's pratyaksha dharmya. The perfection is to pratyaksha, is the direct perception. Faith is nice to point you in the direction, but it's the direct perception, the pratyaksha. That's what really solidifies us. Do we have direct perception? That's what Krishna consciousness means, Krishna perception. The International Society for training you to perceive Krishna perception. It's real, Krishna is realer than everything else. Everything else isn't real. Krishna is the only real thing. And we're chanting Krishna, and it doesn't seem real. It's the only thing that's real. We're so in the dream. Someone's trying to wake you in the dream, saying, "No, you've got to get up now. You've got to wash the pots." And we're in the dream. Pots? What are you talking about? Washing the pots? I'm in this dream. I'm a circus master. I'm doing all this stuff. It's all unreal. All temporary. It's temporary. It's unreal, right? Shishiko Nitai Maya Pashashiki Jai. And the only reason everyone's taking it seriously is because they think it's eternal. Whatever it is, We were out in the park yesterday by a loch, and all these people are walking around with their dogs, and the kids are playing. And the only way you can really get into it is if you think that this is eternal. You have to kind of just accept, well, things are always going to be like this. Otherwise, how can you really enjoy it? But the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that when you're looking at nature, that is a temporary glimpse of what is eternal, where trees are always there as trees and grass and blue skies. Everything is always like that, And the material world is changing that fast. Even as you're trying to enjoy the sunshine, a cloud comes over it. Everything's just like so temporary. For a split second, everything's great, blue skies, sunshine. Oh, cloud. Oh no, it's back out. Oh, no cloud. It's all just so temporary. Any questions or comments? One from, okay, it was quick on the draw. So you're
You mentioned 4 incarnations of Krishna in this Krishna.
Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramachandra, and Krishna.
Because I also heard it before in some other classes. Do we have any Shastric reference that Krishna, Rama, and Lakshmana can give? Because
Yeah.
my understanding was only about Chaitanya can give Krishna Prema.
Has anyone read that in Shiv Ramanuja's books and remembers? No? Okay. We can try and pin it down, yeah. The good thing about Google is you can put in a phrase and you can track it down sometimes, So you can try that.
Prabhupada will say that just asking you from our knowledge. Narsimha, Lord Rama, Krishna can give Krishna Prema.
I'm not sure where it came from or what the reference was, but I've heard it a few times back from 82 to now. It's popped up from time to time. So we can try and find out. Alan, and then Gorangi. Oh.
What Charana Jai?
Yeah, I was wondering the same. Anyone know? Charana. I haven't been there myself. Yes, not recently. If anyone gets there, they can let us know.
So you say never people come and discuss. I think some people also come for enjoyment. And so I just wonder, could it also be if someone's coming for the allure of the enjoyment of the good times, and if that's what their association in the mind is with Krishna consciousness, when that goes away, would that also
Yeah. They could be a fair weather friend, couldn't they? You know what a fair weather friend is? Fair weather friend. So they're okay when everything's fine. When things aren't fine, then they're not your friend anymore.
They could get asked to go to Sankirtan or to do some gardening or something.
Yeah, well, some people will find things more difficult than others. and it's hard to know what the person is struggling with internally. So for us, it may be easy to do Sankirtan, and for others, it may be really difficult. And that'll just be according to their nature and how they're conditioned. The fallout rate is quite high in ISKCON, and it's improving now that we have sanghas, mentors, and more education. That's how we can safeguard against. I remember one devotee was on the Radha Damodar party. He's a sannyasi now. I can never remember his name. But reading books was considered Maya in the early days. We were supposed to just distribute the books. If you're reading them, you could be passing them out. You're wasting time. You're just being selfish. So what they used to do when they were on the parking lot, there was a few devotees that used to hide under a car and read the book and then pop back up and make out they were just doing Sankirtan. They said the funny thing is, like 5 years later, the only ones that were still left were the ones that were reading the books. Everyone else had gone. So if you want to improve your chances and you want to upgrade from coming just because you want to have some fun, which is a type of relief from distress, actually. Because people out there are trying to enjoy like anything, and then suddenly you go in a Harinam. It's like, wow, this is better than ecstasy. Or the first time you take Prashadam, the first time I took Prashadam, I thought, because I was wondering how they were able to follow the right to principles. And when I took the Prashadam, I thought, they're getting high in the Prashadam. That's how they're doing it, It was like amazing, just so blissful. But and so you get this higher grade of enjoyment, you get nice association, and then eventually, again, the desires and the conditioning starts to rise up again. And then you have to push on through just being there because you're getting some relief and having some fun to now doing this seriously, out of a sense of duty. Well, you're doing it because you've committed now. So you go from being reactionary to proactionary. Reactionary is that you're doing this because the environment has repelled you. But then if the environment attracts you, then you... So if you become proactive, then it's no longer dependent on the environment. You'll do this come hell or high water, no matter what the environment is. But that means you have to become principle orientated. Rather than being reactive, you become proactive. You've already decided what you're going to do. It doesn't matter. We've just found out that there's going to be an earthquake in Edinburgh today. That's fine. I'm going there anyway, or whatever it is.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the big words. My question was about some of the elements. You mentioned that one of them is false confidence.
Yeah.
So can you maybe clarify what's the difference between actual confidence and Krishna consciousness and false confidence?
Yeah, it's interesting because Rupa Goswami says, Utsahan Utsahanishyatarya Tata Kama Pravatana Sangachaka Chatovati Shabde Bhakta. Prasidity says you'll proceed, prasidity, in your devotional service if you can be enthusiastic. So what's interesting about that is when you first read that, you think, oh, right, okay, when I'm enthusiastic, I know I'm doing the right thing. Great. But what we don't realize is that when we don't feel enthusiastic, that's when we have to be enthusiastic. Why do you have to tell someone to be enthusiastic when they're feeling enthusiastic? Obviously, they're enthusiastic anyway. The whole point is you have to be enthusiastic when you don't feel enthusiastic. So if it's false confidence, then you'll feel enthusiastic when you have some good feeling about your false ego, or you've just got some material facility or something anyway, some temporary situation has arisen and you're feeling good about that, which obviously means that when that is removed, as it will, like everything is in due course of time, then down comes the enthusiasm, down comes the confidence, everything comes crashing down. So the confidence has to be based upon not some temporary external thing, but based upon the commitment that I'm going to be confident, even though I don't feel like being confident. And I remember I was on Sankirtan and I didn't feel like doing it at all, I thought, well, I've got to be enthusiastic. So I just thought, okay, well, be enthusiastic. So I kind of just jumped. thought, well, there you go. I'm being enthusiastic now. Just to kind of physically show that I could do something on the physical platform, even though I didn't feel like doing it. And so that day, I had a whole day going around the shops. Prabhupada turned to me and he said, look, you're going to have to do it anyway. Why drag your feet? Just get into it. And that was like a catchphrase that we had in Scotland for a long time, is just get into it. Whenever anyone was having a problem, we'd turn and say to him, Prabhu. Everyone would go, yeah, I don't get into it, because we'd had it so many times, But it's actually a fact. I mean, I went out the other day with Amrita Prabhu, and we went to the golf, and I would not have chosen to do it, So I just hung around Amrita Gopal. He was really enthusiastic. And then I just got caught by his enthusiasm. And then, so I just started copying what he was saying, what he was doing. And then it became really natural. And then I realized my lack of enthusiasm was an unnatural state that I was feeling. And the enthusiastic state that I started to experience was my natural feeling. That's how we should naturally be, So unfortunately, we've been conditioned so much that we take our enthusiastic state of mind as natural. And it's so opposite to what we are, We're full of bliss and joy, and we're just bubbling with excitement to do any service for Krishna. That's what the soul is like. And it's so covered over with all these different layers of dirt and misconception and ignorance. And it's like completely, I don't want to do anything. I just want to die. Mm-hmm. And then we've got to push through. No, I do want to do it. No, yeah. Excuse me. Hello. Welcome to the open. You made it in one piece. Congratulations. And then it was like, yeah, that feels great, Whereas it could have been, welcome to the open. Do you want to give some money? No, okay, I'll get lost. You're going to hell anyway. Excuse me. You want to go to hell as well? Okay. I remember we were on Sankirtan one time with this devotee from Bibi, and he was stuck, Bibi, excuse me. And he was getting very angry, and his back leader came and says, Prabhu, just be really nice with them, okay? And he goes, okay then. And then he stopped somebody and he didn't take a book, and he shouted at them, well, go to hell then, I don't care. Go to hell. So that's your default state of mind in conditioned nature. And you're pushing through that and being, people are being really rude to you. And I'm pushing through that and just being enthusiastic. Oh, never mind, listen, have a nice day. Maybe next time, eh? I'll catch you when you're drunk. I'll catch you on the way back up. I'm here all day, no sneaking past. So you have like a little banter with the people, And then it's good, they think you're funny and they like you. So they go away, they're going to get a human birth for their appreciation. So you've done your bit. We should have that in the categories. There's Lakshmi, Gitas, big books, medium and small. And then the last category is human birth. How many people did you touch today? I guarantee them a human birth in their next life. Somebody could win on the human birth category, although he doesn't do that many books. Everybody goes away and says, he was a nice boy. Was he Hare Krishna? They're very friendly. Anyway, I told him to get lost, and he just said, have a nice day. They're nice people, these Hare Krishnas. And then they get a human birth for their appreciation. Even if they just touch the book. Mahapunya. Ding, ding. Just do that all day. Just go around touching people with the book. Yeah, it's interesting enthusiasm because, the child's trying to walk, and it could just say, after 6 months, the child could have a istagosti with his mum and say, listen, I've been doing this for 6 months now. And let's just call it a day, okay? Just get me a wheelchair, and I'll go around in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. But the kid pushes on because innately it knows it can walk. And so similarly with us, innately we know we are enthusiastic. We know we have the ability to be joyful and rise above everything. We know we can do that. And we keep trying, although we keep falling down and getting miserable and discouraged and unenthusiastic. Inside, we have the propensity to walk. We have the ability to do it, to just be totally fired up 24 hours a day. That is innately in there. And until we achieve that, we're not really reaching our full potential. If you're not reaching your full potential, then you can't be satisfied.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. You mentioned a very interesting point about enjoyment. So something that if we're enjoying facilities that come to us through service, it can be a problem. So could it be that when it says in the scriptures, we should be steady, not just in distress, but in happiness also, this should be avoid attachment to the sense of enjoyment. So when it's away, it doesn't affect our service.
Yeah, well, the nature of enjoyment is that when it comes, you start making plans for how this is never going to end, how you can secure this enjoyment forever, It's like that when you're chanting, and suddenly the chanting goes really well. And, you've got a pair of yellow socks on, and you just bent over to pick a flower up, so you're on your left foot, and the chanting goes really well. So next day you're there, pair of yellow socks on your left foot, and you're chanting, and you're like, bless, So when things get blissful in Krishna consciousness, we immediately start trying to maximize on that and somehow or other exploit that, that, I've found out what it is now. You just do that. You just massage all the shalagrams the day before, and the next day when you come out to chant, your japa's like red hot, so you just do that. That's all you have to do. I've found it. I've cracked it. I've found a way. And it's that kind of trying to exploit the situation when it comes and use it to our advantage rather than, and Satchidananda Swami was making such a nice point. He was saying, good chanting isn't an innovative technique. It's special mercy that comes when you beg for it. You have to really beg for it, You have to, with tears in your eyes on bended knee, beg for that mercy. And then when Krishna sees you like that, then he gives you the bliss, then he gives you the shelter, then the chanting becomes God-willed. It's self-actuated. The name is coming to you rather than you coming to the name. You're not going through the names are coming through you. They're just flowing through you like a river. Prabhupada said the japa should be like the Ganga. It should just be flowing through us. We're not worrying about whether we're saying it right, whether we're awake. It should Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. It's just coming. It's just flowing through us eternally. That's what we want. So that will take some focus, discipline, understanding, knowledge, association, consistency over a sustained period of time. But it will come. It will come. But that's the tricky thing, actually, in Krishna consciousness, is being patient. Bhattisiddhanta said, do not be in a hurry. He says, when mundane thoughts come into your mind when chanting, don't worry. A pure and clear mind will be the irrevocable fruit of chanting. Do not be in a hurry. So we can all be convinced of that. We can come here today and say that I'm fully convinced that if I continue chanting, I will get to the point where the mind will always be fixed on Krishna. And I just have to get rid of this problem of being in a hurry. That's the problem, not the mundane thoughts. The mundane thoughts, we've had them for millions of years, so mundane thoughts aren't a problem. The problem is that we're in a hurry to get rid of the mundane thoughts so that we can enjoy ourselves and be peaceful and blissful. So that kind of messes up the whole system. Whereas if we can be patient, if we can actually just focus on what that would mean, okay, I'm not going to try and push Krishna, I'm just going to accept that this is the way my chanting is right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I know that in due course it will be blissful, and I can't force that. I can't force, look, you make it blissful or I'm leaving, Can't hold Krishna to ransom. He doesn't need our service. We need the service. Krishna doesn't. I mean, he's so kind that he wants all his parts and parcels to be back with him. That's why we were created, not to suffer, but to enjoy. But he'll leave us to it. As the Paramatma, the Brahman, he's like neutral, Okay, if you want to do that.
Thank you, bro. Very inspiring. And yeah, it's like consistency between the Ganga attended a retreat, and the Siddha Prabhu was there. So
addressing everyone, and was it like there was no barrier as such, how much time was he giving, and everyone there knows he's such a focused leader and such an inspiration to this leader. And on those lines also, like you mentioned, that someone comes and this category could be there of human birth, how many human births we are giving, facilitating that.
Yeah.
So they were saying, and it's not just the person you met, so someone like you met, oh, get lost, oh, have a nice day. Now this Hare Krishna Dhamma. Now the person told this to another person, this Hare Krishna Dhamma. They are planting that seed, and this again all cycle and change going on top of and facilitating more and more human souls in this universe.
Yeah, and the preaching field is a cumulative effect in the preaching field is that all these people that we've met are getting a human birth. So it means 100 years from now, there's going to be a lot of fertile people walking around that had contact. Some of them maybe even started Swasti Aina, they may have started the auspicious journey, and then for one reason or they've been distracted on the path. But 100 years from now, all these souls will be taking birth again. And unlike if they hadn't had any contact, they would have lost the human birth and gone into animal species for goodness knows how long. Suddenly the whole society has become enriched by these souls coming back. They've had human births in past lives, and they've got all that experience and knowledge to take with them into the next life. So they're much more conscientious. They're much more aware of the pitfalls and the frustrations of material life. And now here they are in the human form. They had a little contact, and they get to build up from there. And then again, they'll get contact because there'll be more devotees by then, so that more of them will get contact. So all that happens cumulatively is the preaching field becomes more and more nourished, more and more enriched, and then more and more start the Swastika, start the auspicious journey. And then the culmination, Shubham, more start going back to Godhead. And then when that's happening, when you've got like 5% of society getting ready to go back to Godhead, you can imagine the effect that's going to have on everybody else, you know? That'll be like so powerful.
Human population is a problem, we are overpopulated and all. But actually, devotees help us understand with 8.1 billion population, it's a good opportunity. We're coming around looking from India, more than 1 billion population, and in that time, we can do teaching and all, and so many more human souls.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So she says, this was in the beginning, we were asking the question around faith and freedom of choice and conduct. Hare Krishna was discussing how someone feels their buttons being pushed. And conclusion was, they are our buttons to deal with. Nothing to do with the other person's behavior, only ours.
Yeah, well, that's nonviolent communication, is that you realize that people are annoying you because you have needs not to be annoyed, which is making you feel in a certain way. And then you blame other people for your needs. So if you blame other people for your needs, it's a very bad strategy for dealing with your needs. Whereas if you realize I have this need, and because this person is singing like a foghorn, I'm getting really annoyed, where everybody else thinks his singing is great. So that means the problem is me. I have a need for angelic singing, and he's singing like a foghorn, so I'm blaming him. But the problem is I have a need for that. So we bring it back to ourselves, and then in that way, we can always blame ourselves for people annoying us and not blame the person for annoying us. And then realize, well, everybody else is annoyed by him. They think he's great, you know, they love him. So it's my problem, you know, rather than blaming people. So if you want to change the world, the best way to do it is change yourself, because you are part of the world. And if you change yourself, the world will change automatically. So don't try and change the world, just try and change yourself. Yes, Kangunarinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.